This will be in English. Come, my beloved, to meet the bride. Let us welcome the Shabbos. The Shabbos. Both the Shabbos is called both bride and queen, as is in the expression the Shabbos queen. The above metaphors are related to a wedding. In that context, a groom is called a king. As mentioned in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, a groom is like a king, and the bride is called a queen. The concept also finds a parallel to the spiritual realms, as the Torah declares, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness." Man below on the earthly plane reflects the form and image of the higher man, i.e., the heavenly spheres. In that realm, the quality of Ze'er Anpin of Atzilos, known by its initials Zion Aleph, which corresponds to Hashem's emotional powers, is called the king. As explained concerning the quotations from the Zohar, the image of each and every soul stood before the holy king, i.e. Ze'er Anpin of Atzilos. The sphere of Malchus, royalty, is called the queen. The Zohar comments, a king without a queen is neither a king nor is he great. The essential fact is the union of Zun, Ze'er Anpin Nukva, Zion Aleph Nun. Kabbalistic terms for Malchus. This is emphasized by the Torah statement, male and female he created them, and Hashem blessed them. There too the blessing came to them, not to one alone. To return to the concept of Shabbos, the Shabbos must be received with joy, for it's the source of all blessings, both heavenly and earthly. The Torah states, all the days are blessed from the Shabbos. The same applies to the bride. She must also be greeted with joy, for she is the source of all the blessings of above. The above expression, the Chadadi, the cross of plus Kabbalah, is used as the Kabbalah Shabbos prayer. Its source is the Talmud's description of how the sages would prepare to greet the Shabbos. Chanina robed himself in nice clothing, stood at sunset on Shabbos Eve and exclaimed, "Come, let us go forth to welcome the Shabbos Queen." Rabbi Yanai donned his robe, Shabbos clothing on Shabbos Eve, and exclaimed, "Come, O bride, because of his great love for the Shabbos, he referred to it as his bride." The Zohar also emphasizes the relationship between a bride and a Shabbos. It declares on Shabbos one must add on from the mundane to the holy in all matters. No one's eating, drinking, clothing, or reclining. One must prepare a pleasant sleeping chamber with embroidered covers and pillows for the best of all that is found in the house, just as one would prepare a marriage chamber for a bride. For behold, Shabbos is the queen and a bride. This is the Shabbos, the source of all blessings. Similarly, the rejoicing of the groom and bride and the greetings of them is the source of blessings. The above can be explained in terms of a quotation from Isaiah. For upon all the glory shall there be a canopy. The word all implies at least two aspects of honor: the honor of the groom and the honor of the bride. God is often referred to as the groom, and the Jewish people as his bride. As the sages commented on the day of his wedding, the day of the giving of the Torah. Honor refers to an encompassing light, a revelation above our conscious powers. The honor of the groom refers to Hashem's great love for the Jewish people, as is written, "I have loved you," said the Lord. The honor of the bride refers to the great love of the Jewish people for Hashem, as is written, May soul longs indeed it faints in the courts of the Lord." The marriage canopy represents a more general encompass of the groom and bride. These spiritual qualities are mirrored in the marriage ceremony on the physical plane. Many people come to the greeting of the groom, proceeding afterwards together with the groom to greet the bride. Then the groom covers the canopy and with a veil, and they go to the marriage canopy. Why is it necessary for the groom to cover the bride's face? In order to deem a kabel, receiver, to ascend and approach the level of mashpia, giver, to its first necessary for the mashpia, to establish a connection by connecting his external qualities with those of the receiver. Through the bond of the receiver can elevate himself and approach the levels of mashpia, enabling him to receive the inner qualities of the mashpia. The above concept can be clarified by referring to a story quoted by the Talmud. The Talmud relates how Rabbah would begin his class with a humorous remark. His students would laugh, and after that he sat in awe and commenced the lecture. Now, the example demonstrates how the Meshivah has to open up his students, developing them to the point that they are able to learn from him. He must stimulate the students' senses and faculties by beginning his lesson on a level to which the students can relate. Therefore, in order to make the students' vessels capable of perceiving, Rabbah began his lesson with a humorous statement. Rabbah's witticism connected be regarded in an undignified sense. The concept of humor refers to the casual conversation of scholars. Although, as our sages commented, even the casual conversation of scholars demand study because it contains great wisdom and deep insights. Nevertheless, it represents only the external aspects of the sage's potential. The level of the casual conversations of a sage is commensurate to its essential powers. The greater the sage, the higher the level of the casual conversation. In some cases, truly profound concepts can be learned from them. Although even then, the sage's casual conversation is merely withered leaves in comparison to its true potential. Nevertheless, they are essential of wisdom. As the Talmud comments, the statement of the sages are blessed. If the statements of the sages are wealth, the statements of the sages heal. The entire realm of the casual conversation is included in the category. The service of Torah. Our sages commented that serving a Torah scholar is greater than learning from him. As a proof, the Talmud cites a biblical reference to the prophet Elijah, who was praised for having poured water for on Eliyahu's hands. The Talmud notes that no mention is made for his having studied Torah from Eliyahu, only the fact of his pouring water. Why? Because serving a scholar is greater than studying from him. As mentioned above, after the introduction, Rabbah sat and comments this lesson. For the study of Torah must be charged with fear. As sages explained, just as the Jews received the Torah on Mount Sinai with awe and fear, trembling and sweating, as the Torah declares, when people saw it, they trembled and they stood far off. Similarly, when we study Torah, we must feel great bittul, self-annulment, and fear. These feelings represent the proper approach to Torah study. However, To reach this level of feeling, it is necessary for the teacher to develop the students' faculties, to open up their minds for making a humorous remark. The purpose of this humorous remark is to elevate and raise the students to the level at which they are capable of receiving from the mashpia. By nature, there is no comparison between a student and a teacher. For that reason, a student must be in state of self-annulment before his teacher. As our sages said, the scholar sits before his teacher and his lips do not drip anxiety, i.e. complete self-annulment. The humorous remarks gives the student the strength to accept his teacher's lessons. In general, it opens up his heart and mind, thus making him a vessel or recipient. Even though the approach of humor is an external connection, and it is a preparation for the establishment of a deeper bond, only through the closest brought about by the master's humor can the student later receive the deeper insights communicated in the lesson. A different example expressed the same concept. When a father wants to play with his young child, who is much smaller than him face to face, he must lower his hands, which are themselves higher and more elevated than the child's head, below the child, and lift him up to the level of his own head. Only then can he talk and play with him face to face. On the surface, the act of lowering his arms to pick up the child is only a superficial expression of the father's love. Similarly, the child does not receive anything intangible from the fact that in it itself. In its own right, the act of lifting up the child does not express anything. The communication and play with his son comes afterwards. After the father has lifted him up, however, it is impossible for there to be a closer interflow unless the receiver was first drawn close and lifted up to the level of mashpia. This is a superficial relationship which has its purpose, the establishment of the interconnection. The same principle applies in the relationship between Hashem and the Jewish people. It is written, it was I who taught Ephraim, took them by the arms. The Hebrew word for I, Anochi, represents Hashem's essence. Anochi, Hashem's essence, has lowered the inner desire of his will and enclosed it within physical mitzvahs in order to elevate the Jewish people. This concept can be explained in greater detail. Our sages called man a small world, a microcosm of creation. In the world at large, there is day and night. Day being the time when the light shines, it is written, and Hashem called the light day. While night is the absence of light, it is written, in the darkness he called night. Similarly, in the spiritual world of each individual, there is a day and night. It is written, even when I sit in darkness, Hashem will serve as a light for me. The term darkness refers to our world, called darkness because it is a world of falsehood. In the dark, it is impossible for man to see. It's possible that one might be standing at the edge of a pit near another potential danger without realizing it. Similarly, no one in this world can know another true feeling about him. It is possible for someone to express one's things with his mouth and feel another within his heart. It is possible that outwardly someone will honor another person with his mouth, speaking with words of affection, yet within his heart he hates him. For this reason, this world is called darkness, because it is the world of falsehood. The world to come, however, is called the world of truth. This is the meaning of the verse, even. When I sit in darkness, Hashem will serve as a light for me. Even this physical world, Hashem signs in Israel, as is written, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and thick darkness the nations, but the Lord shall shine forth unto you. The name of Hashem, used in the above verse, is Yud Ke Vav Ke, interpreted to refer to Hashem's infinite aspects. It is known that the name Elohim, which refers to Hashem's finite dimensions, in numerology equals to Ateva, meaning the nature. The name Elohim represents the godliness enclosed in the natural order. Yod Kei Vav Kei transcends nature and is above time, simultaneously existing in the past, present, and future. This is the meaning of the above verse. The darkness shall cover the earth, i.e., the nations of the world will know only matters regarding nature, but the Lord who transcends nature shall shine forth unto you, Israel. In realms of service to Hashem, the above concept can be explained as follows. The state in which a man's soul spread forth within him and the light and power of his soul shines forth is called day. The state in which light of his whole soul does not shine, heaven forbid, is called night. Therefore, at night one is not a state of total sleep, because the withdrawal of the soul's active light. In the morning, Hashem returns each man's soul to him, as it is written. They are new every morning, great is your faithfulness. However, since during the sleep the body's life force becomes more material-oriented, it can only receive a slight glimmer of the soul's light. Such a person is referred to as one whose soul is in his nostrils, i.e., that the godly soul is not revealed in his heart and body because of the God's strong selfish tendencies, for he is not yet prayed. Prayer is a process of connection, allowing one's soul to spread forth in the whole body. For prayer, i.e., before a man connects himself to Hashem through service, it is written about him, separate yourselves from the man whose soul is in his nostrils. For what can he be accounted for? On this verse, sages commented, do not read Bameh, but Bameh, a platform, a high place, according to Talmud's explanation. The meaning of the verse is as follows. Separate yourself from a person whose soul is in his nostrils, meaning that his soul has not yet spread throughout the whole body. Why? For he is like a platform. As the platform is a high place appearing to exist as a separate entity, so too the person is self-oriented in a separate entity until he daffens. Prayer is a process connection that binds ones with Hashem. Through prayer, one makes all material objects vessels for godliness. In order to establish this interconnection, to draw down the godly light until all physical matter, a general closeness must first be made. For this reason, our sages tell us one should rise to prayer only with heavy head, which Rashi explains to mean submissive and humility, thus establishing a general connection. This is the meaning of come, my beloved, to meet my bride. It represents the preliminary step of the Mashpia's drawing close to the Kabul. Through this preparation, we welcome the Shabbos for all These days are blessed. The days are blessed from the Shabbos. Just as in a teacher-student relationship, I have learned much from my teachers and from my colleagues and from my teachers, but from my students more than from them. Similarly, a wife of excellence is the crown of her husband. Through her being a receiver, she becomes a crown higher than his head. It is written, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing, and obtains favor of the Lord." May they, the groom and bride, obtain the favor of the Lord, who is good, and be blessed with a righteous generation, with children and grandchildren who are engaged in Torah and mitzvahs.
Amen.